Merkel Media.
What does the goddamn line say, Tony?
Please do not use gendered language.
Then what? I'll be arrested, put in airport jail?
Look, you're going completely sideways, man.
It's a big club, and you ain't in it.
How dare you?
Mr. Speaker, the President of the United States.
I'm Chris Hansen with Dave on NBC.
Jack Marius Tack Theratrix.
Hi, I'm Spartacus.
Jackson, Sacramento, he, him.
Steven Seagal.
Sex offender guy.
I'm Keith Morris.
This is Muammar Gaddafi.
I'm Rick James, bitch.
Sorting through the lies.
The hijacker's passport was found blocks from the World Trade Center crash site, if you can believe that.
We cannot track $2.3 trillion in transactions.
And uncovering the centuries-long plan for world domination.
Learning about Cuba, having some food.
Let's talk about Chinese people.
Have you ever been in a Turkish prison? Swangles in Fort Lauderdale?
I have sent 6 of my Libyan missiles to blow up the Sears hardware department.
Nothing could be more fun than jumping off a cliff with 2 German bisexuals.
Oh, you English are so superior, aren't you?
Thank you, comrade.
And now, macroaggressions.
That's what assholes call it.
With your host,
Buddy, I don't know who you are, but you're about to get chlamydia.
Charlie Robinson.
Hey, Whitey, where's your hat?
You want to drop the blame on Charlie and say it's all Charlie's fault.
He was a retard.
I get some goddamn diuretic.
Welcome to Macroaggressions. I'm your host, Charlie Robinson. If you're watching us on Rockfin, Rumble, Band.video, or you're listening wherever podcasts are served, thanks so much. We appreciate the support. If you want to connect with me, I've got a brand new website, macroaggressions.io. Can you believe that some asshole has macroaggressions.com? How dare you? But they do. So go to macroaggressions.io if you want to find information about me. Big thanks to the sponsors that make the show happen. Legal Shield's been doing it in Canada and the United States for half a century. They get you access to an attorney in your area for $1 a day. $30 a month. That's it. You've got an attorney that can help you with a variety of things. If you have legal documents that need to get created, last will and testament, financial, power of attorney, medical directive, you don't want to get stuck on some ventilator because you don't have a medical directive and some doctor has instructed, has been instructed to remove you from this planet. So these things happen. We saw this over the last couple of years. You need to have a lawyer. They say equal justice under the law, but we all know that's nonsense. Whoever's got the most money, whoever's got the best lawyers win. So don't go into this unarmed. Legal Shield can help you out. Don'tgetpushedAround.com is the website to go to that will have all the information about this. It's built specifically for the show. Take a look, see what you think. You can get yourself 5 years of your money's worth by signing up for this, knocking out all of those documents that you need, your will, your power of attorneys, all of those things that you've got to have as an adult, but you probably don't have, and you certainly don't want to think about, and you definitely don't want to spend $3,000 to go see some attorney to have them write this up. So go to Legal Shield, go to don'tgetpushedAround.com, read up for yourself, see what you think. Also, calendar has changed. It's that time where the gyms are filled with people that have great intentions about getting themselves healthy. I love it. Good. You should. You should be taking that energy all year long, not just in January. If you are interested in buying products, supplements that actually work, Chemical Free Body is a good place to go. Tim James has been a part of this show since I started it. You can go to chemicalfreebody.com and get the detox bundle. That'll clean you out. It's really fantastic. I've done it now twice. It's effects that are noticeable. So do this. Go to chemicalfreebody.com. Take a look around. See what you think. If you find something you like, the promo code is MACRO. That'll save you a little bit of money. And, well, we hope to see you in Mexico. We're going to be in Acapulco. February 11th through the 16th, 2024. Come to Acapulco. It's, listen, worst case scenario, you're in Acapulco, Mexico in February. Worst places to be. It's going to be beautiful. I've never seen a cloud in Acapulco. So come on out. Go to anarchapulco.com if you want. Use the promo code MACRO. That'll save you some money, get you discounts on tickets and things like that. It's going to be a lot of fun. And that leads us into our guest. She is the bee lady. She's the director of Vanishing of the Bees. You can go to her company, honeycolony.com, and do some shopping. You should definitely go check it out. You're going to find products that most stores don't have. Really cool stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, the baddest ass investigative journalist on the planet, Maryam Henein. Hi, Maryam.
Hi, Charlie. Hi. And it's my birthday today, so I'm
And it is
spending it
your
with you.
birthday. So it is happy birthday to you. And I know, and well, listen, I want to talk to you about a million things, because whenever I see injustice in the world that the mainstream media is ignoring, there you are, sticking your nose in where it doesn't belong, according to them, and making a lot of trouble for these people. You did that with George Floyd. It needed to be done. It's an ongoing process. Where are we with George Floyd? Because this feels like it's been, God, to call it a psychological operation, I think might even be underselling it. It's just the gift that keeps on giving. We've seen so much radical change in the wake of this, and yet the story itself isn't entirely true. Where are you on this, on your quest towards figuring out the George Floyd psychological operation?
So I'm just editing the second draft of my upcoming book, which is going to be titled Operation George Floyd, a multi-layered psyop exposed. So we've tweaked the title a little, and it's a 700-page book with color. People can pre-order it. It's right now it's $44.99, but it's going to go up in price because of the gold, the truth bombs. And Charlie, the film The Fall of Minneapolis came out. I don't know if you probably didn't see it.
No.
But it's the first 10 minutes is like watching my movie. But I'm not married to the lieutenant, and I don't have access or the resources that Liz Collin had. So in reality, all the more the merrier, the more truth. Everybody holds a piece of the puzzle. So I certainly don't have the access that she did to show that Precinct 3 was pretty much abandoned. However, the movie doesn't really look at or ask the question as to why was it abandoned? Why did Tim Walsh and Jacob Fry and Keith Ellison give these directions and abandon the officers? And I think, I'm a little bit sad and disappointed that the right has also kind of ignored my movie. So when I see, for instance, the Epoch Times Jan interview Liz Collin, knowing that he knows who I am, and I had an article that I wrote for the Epoch Times that went viral, and is it because half of my head is shaved? Is it because I have tattoos? Is it because I like the F word? I shouldn't be confused, because they don't want to expose the truth that this was a psychological operation involving the right and the left. And so in this latest chapter regarding the FBI informant, it's like, oh, I interviewed the informant's former lawyer. Wouldn't people want to know my assessment or my findings regarding this informant? And the truth is, his agreement, John Tursak, the guy who is accused of shanking Derek Chauvin 22 times, when he wrote the agreement, it says, the FBI agreement says, your duties will continue as long as the FBI deems necessary, like quote unquote. And I've written about the informant in length on my Substack. But until, just to go back a little, the same month, the Supreme Court denied Derek's, then The Fall of Minneapolis comes out, and then Derek gets shanked, all within a month. So up until this chapter, I, as a journalist, would say, well, these are the receipts I have. I can't prove, that it's all BS. But given this last three things that have happened and the way even the right has ignored my movie, then I'm really wondering what is going on. And now the informant, literally pled not guilty.
To shanking him?
Yeah, to shanking him, and nothing has like there was an arraignment, and nobody in the press, one little rinky-dink station covered it, and so then I put out exclusive regarding the next steps, and so it's he denied shanking him. So how is that gonna pan out? What's really happening is that, as you know, the two sides, left, right, both sides of the same coin, we're stirring sympathy for Derek. It's an election year. The attorney, Gregory Erickson, not the initial attorney, Eric Nelson, this is the appeals attorney. I've been speaking to him for more than a year. In the last few months that I've seen him go on MSNBC and CNN, like if you get on CNN, it's very questionable to me. Right. And not long, I think it was last week, Amazing Polly put out this graph of the new establishment gatekeepers. And I call them the not so obvious establishment, which is really Dr. Shiva's term. But in the not so obvious establishment, you see a lot of, in her graph, you have like a Jack Posobiec or a Candace Owen. And because of the way they ignored my movie, and I gave the movie to them directly, I know that they have it, but yet they endorsed the fall of Minneapolis. Why?
Because Jack Posobiec is naval intelligence connected to Steve Bannon.
Exactly. Yes. Yes. And so maybe, I was ignorant, I guess, in the past 4 years of like, I came from the left or thought I was a Democrat and got embraced by the right, and still identify more with conservative values now. But I think it's all BS, as I'm sure you think so as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I feel the same way. I always thought I was, I always thought I was liberal in my thinking, but I think really maybe I was libertarian in my thinking. I wasn't like, let's save everybody. I thought, no, let's save the people that that need help, that really need help. Let's help the people that by no fault of their own are born into this world in some situation that puts them at a severe disadvantage. If you have spina bifida or cerebral palsy or Down syndrome or something, we need to take care of those people. You know what I mean? We need to look out for them. That this is just a bad roll of the dice, and we can't leave those people behind. And I have a ton of empathy for them, for those people. Right. So from that standpoint, I feel very like liberal-ish. But I don't have sympathy for people that put themselves in bad situations and then the situations go bad. Like, I was sneaking into the United States and I drowned. It's like, well, I'm sorry that you drowned, but you were sneaking into the United States when you did this. You were taking on this risk. You were putting yourself in a position where you knew bad things could happen. I started getting less sympathetic there. So it's like my sympathy is contingent on the person, frankly. It's contingent on their actions. If it's no fault of their own and they're born into this world in a body that doesn't work, we got to help those people out. If you're born in the wrong part of the world and you've made a calculation that you're going to leave your area for whatever reason and go somewhere else, I have sympathy for that too, but I just understand that like there's the law of unintended consequences. So like when I see the people that are coming across the border and they're like, we're being treated so poorly, it's like, okay, then don't put yourself in a situation where you can be treated so poorly. I'm not trying to say they deserve it. I'm just trying to say that I have less empathy for those people. And so I find myself having I'm very conflicted because on some respects, I'm conservative in this regard. Maybe the border's the wrong example because as an anarchist, I'm like, fuck the borders, but I look at people's behavior and I look at their actions, and the people on the left that used to be like anti-war and anti-mainstream media, and these people are lying to us, and they sort of held themselves out to be compassionate, the compassionate left. I don't know where those people have gone. They've turned into lunatics that are that are as bad, maybe even worse than when I was growing up as a kid, seeing the conservative party, the conservative right when we were kids. I was like, those people are like soulless killers. Like I looked at like the Reagan administration. I thought those people they would step on your head before they would help you up. You know what I mean? Like they seem very, very disconnected from like, I don't know, goodness. And now I'm starting to reevaluate that. I'm saying, well, like the hardcore left is worse than the hardcore right. I don't want anything to do with either of them. But the right is compromised as well. There's this belief now that like, oh, everyone on the lunatic left is the bad guy, but everyone on the right or they're the good guys and they're fighting against it. Boy, that is not the case. that is not. It feels like all of us that are sort of somewhere in that middle. I don't even know how much we moved. Really, it's like the left moved so far left that by comparison we appear to be on the right. But that's only because they've changed the terms of the agreement. They moved so far left that they're like, yes, let's abort babies after they're born. You're like, what? Like that? I expect Pat Robertson to say something like that. I don't expect the guy with the blue hair and the face tattoos to be saying that too. But here we are. I don't know.
Yeah. So in regards to truth regarding George Floyd and like, yeah, the saga continues and it's a little bit ridiculous if you look at these circumstances of this John Tursak guy. So John Tursak, just to give you a little information, he at 27 years old started helping the FBI, and he was part of MA, and MA is a gang that has been central in bringing drugs into the California penal system. And he told the FBI that he wanted to start a new life. So he was unofficially helping them and then officially helped them, where he got $2,000 a month. Not bad as a gig.
In prison?
Yeah. Well, he had left prison and then he was out of prison. He left Pelican Bay and then he was brought on as
Pelican Bay is no fucking joke.
No, and
that is a seriously dangerous place.
And this guy has done a lot of bad things. Like, I mean, he's definitely shanked other people. He's called murders. He's taken tax money or street money. So this is the thing. In order to become part of the MA, he wanted to leave. And in order to get inducted, you have to do bad things. That's how these gangs work, right? This is how the world seems to work with the blackmail. You do something, now we have something over you, blah, blah, blah. So they knew, the FBI, that he would have to do things. So in the agreement, he has to be perfectly honest. Well, what came to happen was there was Chuy Martinez. It was a very high profile case in Los Angeles, and the prosecutor, Dan Levin, he brought in 2 gang members and he also made them informants. And these 2 members were not liking Tursak. And so what ended up happening is Tursak was very honest about everything that he did. He was wearing wires. I mean, just think about it. You're a 27-year-old. You want to start a new life, but you're wearing body wires and you're hanging out with gang members and you're playing both sides. So in the end, because this guy, Dan Levin, wanted to prosecute Chuy Martinez and get a life penalty, death penalty, would have been the first setting a precedent in Los Angeles. He had his own political desires, and then this guy went on to get hired under the Bush administration. So when push came to shove, they threw John Tursak under the bus, and they had promised him a downward departure, means a more lenient sentence. However, they gave him the maximum of 30 years. So this guy, I tracked down his old lawyer. At that time, no one else had reached out to him. Later, I reached out to him again, and he's like, one reporter from NBC tracked me down, and she said that she's getting stonewalled regarding John Tursak. But the difference is she's surprised. I'm not surprised anymore that it's like her introduction to the way media works. So this guy gets put in jail, John Tursak. If you think he's 52, he has spent 36 of years in jail. So there's an argument that he could have done this to get high profile, to get cred, because he actually wants to stay in prison because he wouldn't know freedom outside. Okay, that's possible. But if you're still employed technically by the FBI, so he waived his Miranda rights. So when I went on Pacer, the original gang member trial case is not on Pacer. So I managed to get what I could, like 100-page document, reading handwritten notes by John Tursak, because he represented himself pro se. He's not stupid to, like, he had 3 more years and then he would have been free after serving. So a few things come to mind, like, how do you stay in jail if you're an informant for the FBI? Like, wouldn't you get murdered? How do you survive?
The minute somebody found out about it, you would be murdered as just like, as you said, as an entry into the gang by some new guy.
Yeah. So how did he manage? During this time, he was put in California. Then they sent him to Georgia. Then they sent him to New Jersey. There's letters that he's writing. They're taking my mail. I don't trust the government. So this guy is not stupid. And whether he did it for cred or did the FBI tell him, and this is part of it. So now, Derek gets shanked, and there's only one mention of a hospital. I tracked down the hospital. No, he's not at this hospital. No. And so I'm like, well, where could he be? So then I look on the map on Google Maps where the prison is, and there's 12 hospitals around. Okay, good luck trying to, of course, they can cite HIPAA. So here we are, more than 2 months, or a month and a half, rather, and we do not know the extent of the injuries. We're led to believe that even the mother and the parents and the lawyer were kept in the dark, and that Keith Ellison is the person who tells the world that Derek Chauvin has been shanked. How do you know Keith Ellison? So to me, it's all smells like bullshit.
What color is this Keith guy?
Keith Ellison?
Or, not Keith Ellison. I'm sorry, the John.
Tursak is
John Tursak.
Either half Croatian or half Czech and half Mexican, right? Tursak is not a Mexican
What's
name.
MA? What gang is that?
MA is EME, and it's a Mexican mafia gang.
Oh, MA. The Mexican mafia. Oh, shit. Okay. Never mind. Yeah. That's the fucking worst gang around, except maybe AB.
Or Sinaloa, right?
But in prison, if you've got what, the Sureños, Norteños, Mexican Mafia, Black Guerrilla Family, Aryan Brotherhood, Nazi lowriders. They're one of the most dangerous. Yeah. God damn.
And
okay, so you cannot play both sides if you're in that gang.
Right. Okay, so
they will fucking murder you.
Exactly. So how is it that he stayed alive? Also, the FBI is the one that's telling us that John Tursak did this as a symbolic gesture. Well, I can tell you that John Tursak has shanked and killed a black person, and that gangs are like very they cliquey and they stay with their own race. I highly doubt that John Tursak would do a good one for the black people.
No, absolutely not. No. That would go against gang code. I mean, even if you're like Crips and Bloods, black guys on the streets in rival gangs, when you get to prison, you're all under one gang color, which is you're black. So you Crips and Bloods need to figure it out while you're inside, right. And when you get out, you can go back to fighting. That is a. You would never. The Mexican Mafia would never go like, oh, we're gonna go avenge the injustice of George Floyd by having one of our Mexican guys go kill. Not unless they were being paid to do that, which could be.
Which could be. So how and that's another saying. Derek Chauvin was unsupervised in the law library, and they used an improvised knife, and that apparently there were others in the law library. And so we have to keep everything under seal because we cannot put these other prisoners and the employees of the prison at risk. Bullshit. So the fact that it will be sealed forever, I've already done a FOIA. So just technically, Charlie, just think like, how did this informant stay alive that long in jail?
The minute a guard tells another guard that he had a meeting with a guy who's signed in at the front desk as FBI, it'd be curtains for him. That guy'd be dead by the end of the week.
Okay, but 30 years passed by, so obviously, or like not 30, almost 30 years. So clearly, what's the deal? There's an understanding. Am I supposed to believe that it didn't come out in all this time that this guy was an informant that helped put Chuy Martinez in jail, a big ass high profile case? I doubt it. So what's the answer? What's the explanation of how did this guy, how is he still alive himself?
Has to not be in prison anymore if he's still alive, or is he dead?
Who, John Turzak?
Yeah.
It's all a sham. It's all a fairy tale that he's not even alive. Apparently he showed up in person.
It's hard to know if everything's sealed, right? And the hospitals don't know anything, and the family doesn't know anything. It's like, boy, if I didn't know any better, I'd think that the cops went in there and did it to him, and then pinned it on some other guy. I don't know. I mean, at this point, like,
well, then it becomes like, is any of it real? Like, up again, that's what I'm saying. Up until, with my editor of the Real Timeline, he thinks it's all fake, right? Joel Gilbert, who's a filmmaker who did the Trayvon Martin hoax, he thinks a case like this is taken after the fact by a Benjamin Crump. They cut out it doesn't apply, and then form it. So I was somewhere in the middle because I want to show my receipts, and only at the end of the book do I allow myself an opinion, which I've earned. But now, since this has happened, I now think it's all fake and gay. And so if I'm saying that, like, the latest thing is I have trolls on Instagram that are telling me that they're Derek Chauvin's mother. And I'm like, this is a bad look. Like, I really highly doubt it that Carolyn Paulenti is. And, I called her a name, the troll. I called her a cunt troll, which I don't usually use that C word, but these are troll people. And so now I have trolls that are harassing me, saying, oh, Liz Collin is the only journalist, and she's sophisticated and not like you. And it's just such childhood games. The movie and the book will speak for itself. So yeah, the saga continues.
Always continues. Have you seen recently this new push to get everybody scared of disease X?
Yes.
I feel like they're not spending enough money on the marketing and development and the writers behind it. Maybe the writer's strike had something maybe it impacted the disease X. Well, it's not actually a disease. It's a placeholder for another disease. I go, okay. So let me get this straight.
The WHO said
you
that,
want us to be afraid of a disease that doesn't exist yet and doesn't have a name, but you want us in advance to be scared of this thing that's coming. Either this is the most obvious game of predictive programming ever, or they're behind schedule. Is this like when you advertise a movie that's still in production and like run a trailer for like coming Christmas 2025, and you're like, oh, that looks cool. Like, it looks like it could be cool. Like, well, how is it? Like, well, we're still making it. Like, all right, well, let me know when it's available for me to go see it. It's like, oh, Disease X, it's coming, and it'll do this, this, this. Oh, is it anywhere? Well, I mean, we're still working on it, but when it comes out, it's like, oh, all right, well then, let me
doing
know.
like a focus group, like they're trying to gauge the
It's a focus. It's a focus group. We're all sitting around this table. We're not getting paid $20 to sit in on the focus group and watch a commercial and tell us our thoughts. I'll give you my thoughts on it for free. Everybody, you're going to have to run better psyops than these. These are junior varsity level. I'm actually kind of embarrassed for them that they're putting this out right now, and it feels very early. Yeah, I don't know. Have they?
Sorry, so this, you saying that it's the World Health Organization that stated in 2018, actually, they put this placeholder for disease X. Initially,
Was that early 2018 that they did that?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, so what are they signaling now, knowing, at the same time, Bill Gates saying the next time we'll get their attention, and knowing like there is no shortage of bioweapons, dangerous bioweapons that they have, and this anthrax rabbit hole of writing like a 7-part series on anthrax, and like every day I'm researching about anthrax, and then while I was researching it, I'm going, why are you doing this, Maryam? Like, this is not going to pay you. Why are you spending all this time on anthrax? And then the day the first installment came out, literally was a 3-day live exercise in Ohio with anthrax, Ohio being Bataille Memorial, where they have worked with anthrax. And because of George Webb's work, realizing that there is an anthrax component to corona, or there is a bacterial, because I think they did a lot of different things with different tests, right? When they took out this jab, some of the batches had mRNA, some of them had graphene oxide, but we can't prove that. And I've gotten a lot of heat that I believe that there's GO, but I do believe that there's GO in some of them, and that they're trying to see, Kurzweil, I put a Substack the other day on prions. Kurzweil in early 2008 was warning about self-assembling nanoweapons. He called them nanoweapons. He was predicting about prions, except he said that they would put it in the food, and
still time for that.
Right. And how do we know? How do we know what's in the food when the food is arguably less and less real? It's more and more difficult to get real wholesome organic food.
Yeah, and Ray Kurzweil works for Google now.
Yeah.
And predicting the future.
He got funding from Epstein. So I'm also writing an article. I'm looking at Epstein's, what did he fund, right? We want to focus on all this salacious. I don't know if you've ever heard of Bobby Capucci, but I've interviewed him twice. And as far as I'm concerned, Bobby is who to go to get the latest. And he says there's not a lot of new stuff with all this Epstein now. But not enough people have looked at what exactly Epstein was funding when he was surrounding himself with academics and scientists and eugenicists. And
I was talking about that. I was on a Twitter X Spaces. I'd never done that before.
When?
I got invited by Johnny Vedmore, who said he was talking to one of the guys there, and one of the guys wanted Johnny to come on, or Johnny had been on one before, and he said, "Hey, we're going to do one on Epstein. I got you invited to come on and sit on the panel." And I was like, "Oh, okay, cool." Like, so I did, and I kind of jumped on, and I did. It was a lot of listening at first, but like, it was like me, Alex Jones, George Santos, that lunatic George Santos was on the call. Marjorie Taylor Greene. I was like, I feel like I'm having an out of body experience. But one of the things I brought up to Alex was that, there's a lot of discussion about the girls and the sexual blackmail entrapment for all these politicians and bankers, and of course it's juicy and we should be talking about it, and it's important for people to understand that. But if you only stop with that, there's so much more that he was doing. And one of the things I brought up was his relationship with Harvard. And it's kind of ironic since Harvard's been in the news a lot with Claudine Gay, who was installed there by Penny Pritzker. And you start to see this this sort of Jewish mafia running the show at Harvard. And you see that they're taking, and so what is Jeffrey Epstein's relationship with Harvard? Well, he gave Martin Nowak $30 million to study evolutionary dynamics and game theory on that. And that makes me very nervous, because when the eugenicists start getting scientists into blackmail traps so that they can control them, it makes me think, what do you want this scientist to do that he's unwilling or unable to do without the blackmail hanging over his head? And why are you picking on guys? And I'm not trying to give Martin Nowak a pass in any way, shape, or form, but why are you specifically targeting guys that are working with population structure? What the fuck are you up to? And so I think that that's, it's sort of like dismissed because it's scientists. I mean, the closest we got to it was Stephen Hawking at an orgy, which is, I mean, let's be honest. If you get molested by Stephen Hawking, that's kind of on you. But
someone
but
said that the Stephen Hawking it's not the same Stephen Hawking.
it's not. Oh, there's been like 4 different Stephen Hawkings. You can tell by the teeth. The teeth are totally different. Like the face is different, and it's like,
a wheelchair.
I mean, oh baby, yeah, that's right. I mean, like the jokes write themselves, where they're all, it's so fucking disgusting. But once you can take like the humor and kind of the absurdity of it out, you go, okay. Fun with Physics was an event they kept holding. They would have these parties there, and it was called Fun with Physics, and it was Ghislaine Maxwell's sister, Isabel Maxwell's husband, that would plan this. And he later wound up at the bottom of a cliff in France. I'm sure he was thrown off, but he would plan these Fun with Physics events, and they would invite all the nerds down, and they would talk about physics and everything. And that, to me, I think that'd be kind of cool to like sit around and listen to all these guys talk about physics and everything. But not with Jeffrey Epstein. And when you know what he's up to, and the things that he's involved in, and that there really shouldn't be an overlap with, I mean, you're running guns in the 80s, you're running Ponzi schemes with Stephen Hoffenberg, you're running blackmail entrapment operations with Les Wexner's money, you're spying for the Mossad, the CIA, MI6. I mean, you're working with everybody. I get all of that, but it's when you bring the scientists in it that you go, what? This is weird. So what have you made of this whole thing, this whole angle of Epstein that doesn't get a lot of play with regard to the scientists?
Right. So, because there's so many people that have done a lot of research and investigations on Epstein, it's like I have to preface in my piece, like, people have done this, have done extensive work. I'm what am I going to find that's new per se, other than maybe my own observations? So I was looking at him funding. I mean, I've just started, so I'm looking at his his donations or funding of Kurzweil, of Ben Gertzel.
Ben
how do you
Gertzel.
pronounce it?
Gertzel.
And looking, Humanity Plus, they used to be World Transhumanist Organization, and they changed it. I don't know if they changed it because they didn't want people to link Epstein to them. And so I'm looking at Ben, who's Sophia, and also who's OpenCog, and just looking to see what he funded. Martin Nowak. I haven't found anything directly between him funding Charles Lieber, but given all the money that he was giving to Harvard, and it's like, this guy, I mean, he's part of the Trilateral Commission, he's part of the not the Bilderbergs, what's the other?
CFR.
I mean, he's part of CFR. He is part of the Jewish mafia. He's heading it, and Yeah, yesterday I found that because everything's obviously scrubbed, and I'm going into his old Jeffrey Epstein Foundation blog and looking to see. And as you know, Wayback Machine is also scrubbing things. But he was a resident of Virgin Islands, so I was looking to see some of the organizations that he was helping over there as well. But again, like obviously, it's late for me to come to this. A lot of people have done the research. I just wanted to at least write a piece just focusing on the transhumanist artificial agenda. Obviously, he wanted to seed his DNA, impregnate 20 women at a time, and there's not been an extensive investigation into Zorro Ranch, right? Like there has been, and so
not to a point, not to a level that I feel like it's been done. No, there's still quite a bit to know about that place. Bill Richardson's involvement, the Clintons' involvement with that. There's a lot of questions. I tell you, the Ben Goertzel thing that really should get people like up in arms is that, for those that remember Sophia the robot, it was like this, it was like a life-sized robot, but like the back side of her head was clearly open with like circuits. It was almost sort of like by design. They could have put a wig on it, but they wanted it to look like a robot. And she was given citizenship in Saudi Arabia, which is hilarious because she probably has more rights than the women in Saudi Arabia, this female robot. But so that was Sophia, and they bring her out and they do the whole thing and they say, oh, we've granted her, Saudi citizenship. And everyone's like, oh, this is amazing. This is the future of that. That was built by SingularityNet, and that's Ben Goertzel's company. Yes. And then he took I think $7.5 million from Epstein to build Little Sophia, which is a smaller version, doll-sized, that is for girls that are between 8 and 12 years old for emotional intelligence. Now, this Little Sophia doll has cameras in the eyes. It has microphones. It's wired up to the internet. It can provide geolocations of where this doll is and who this doll is interacting with. Think of it like this. You get a girl whose dad is mean to them and she's in her bedroom crying her eyes out and she's saying, I hate my dad, I hate my dad, and this little doll is recording all of this to some pedophile group who's going, I know where this girl is, let's go get her. How much do you want for her? So that's, I mean, I wouldn't think, I might probably still go there anyway if they're like, hey, we've introduced this doll. I'd be like, no, thank you. I'm not interested in this. But especially when I know that the financing was from Jeffrey Epstein and you're targeting this at little girls in particular. Sorry, that's a humongous problem.
After this interview, I'll look at Little Sophia. So it's like 2018 and I go to a life extension biohacking conference in Orange County, and Kurzweil is there and Ben is there, busts out Sophia. Suzanne Summers was there. And
he actually looks like she should be at a life extension event because she always looked great. You know what I mean? I think she just recently passed away, but
she passed away on stage, and she was really integral in bringing bioidentical hormones, and said that she thought that they tried to kill her. In any case, so Ben busts out. He looks like he looks like a hippie, right? He doesn't look like even someone that I would take seriously.
He looked like the scientist nerd in Independence Day. With the long hair and the glasses and the lab coat and the, it looks like he just woke up like a straight up nerdo guy who's like 180 IQ, who doesn't interact well with people. Yeah. Ben Goertzel looks like he plays the part of like weirdo scientist, guy to a T. I mean, straight out of central casting for that. But listen, if you're taking money from Jeffrey Epstein to build dolls for him,
right?
I'm not really interested in your life extension thoughts. You know what I mean? Like life extension from people I trust, maybe. Yeah, sure. Right. Like, let's talk about this. I know that there's ways we can improve our human experience and our physical abilities and our I know we can live longer if we choose to. But boy,
But maybe
taking that, I don't know, I'd take it from Kurzweil and Gertzel.
That's the cover, because going there, Charlie, in his like 2018, I looked at these people on stage. There was also Natasha Vitmore that is behind Humanity Plus, and I thought myself like, oh, these are people that are, elderly that want to extend their life. They're biohackers without realizing, like, I didn't know about this transhumanist agenda in 2018. So seeing this guy Ben, I'm like, oh, he's this nerd with his doll. Had no idea that he was being funded by Epstein. And then, when he was asked, he kind of backpedaled and said, I don't want to talk I don't want to talk about these things. So these people were happy to take this gobs of money. That's part of it. You take these gobs of money, then you're caught doing some uncompromising thing, and then they've got blackmail on you. So that point that you bring of like, yeah, get these scientists in compromising, and then like, oh, we want you to do this.
We want you to make sure that the cameras and the microphones are feeding back into our servers and not into just the servers at your company, because that information is going to be extremely valuable for us to feed into the AI to know where all these little kids are if we want to go round them up, or to just, it's an order form for them. I see it as like online shopping. Some pedophile sicko who's in that network, Epstein, could theoretically say, well, listen, let me show you the catalog of what we got. This is what we got here. We've got all these kids all over, all these little girls all over the place. You want a blonde with blue eyes? It's about this age. And it's like, okay, where you live? Okay, we can go get that for you. It'll be $1.5 million. So like, it sounds crazy, of course, but why would you be building a doll that does all those things for a pedophile guy who's in charge of collecting women and collecting people, as he says, if you're not doing that? I mean, again, like if somebody else was asking for it, if this was, some company that is just trying to make a better version of a doll, who's just saying, dolls are cool and they've always, kids love them by just instinctively, let's make a newer version of one that's, can do all the things that we can do now with this technology. Like, well, let's take, I in and of itself, I would be like, well, that's just sort of the evolution of toys. Like, be careful, but I wouldn't be too, but the evolution of toys with Jeffrey Epstein's money, no. That feels like some, like a menu to me.
And maybe I'm naive that I didn't know that he was part of Trilateral and CFR, but when I saw all of his affiliations, I'm like, he's definitely not dead. Like,
Is Jeffrey Epstein dead? That's a good question. I don't know. I'll tell you what. Initially, my thought was, I don't think he's dead. I mean, he's very valuable. Then I had a conversation with Sean Atwood about this, and he's written plenty of books about the Clintons and all of this stuff. And he said, I am of the opinion that he is dead, and let me explain the reasoning why. You don't. If Jeffrey Epstein screwed up the way he screwed up and made himself more known than he should have been and exposed this entire operation, the last thing this group would want to do would be to reward his incompetence and his failure by keeping him alive and bailing him out of this situation. In fact, what they would really want to do is make sure that he was dead, and that everybody knew, if you screw up the operation, we're not coming to save you. We're not coming to bail you out of prison. We don't need you. You'll die in prison. We'll make sure of that. So I was like, wow, you know what, Sean, I think that probably, to me, is more likely that they found him to be more of a liability, and that they wouldn't be in a position to want to save him. However, I will say this about the Epstein is alive possibility. If ever there was a guy who had connections and money and the ability to do it, it would be him. He's in New York. He kind of knew a lot of people in New York. There are a lot of mysteries surrounding it. We did get to see the face, like the body's covered, and then they're taking the corpse out, but we can just see the side of the face. It's like, are we seeing like you could easily have covered that up? This seems a little too coincidental. So like I have questions about that. We see
Right.
the drone footage of the guys on the island a couple days after he's dead, and it kind of looks like him. I don't know if that necessarily is is these maintenance
Yeah.
guys kind of sitting around by the ATVs, and I was like, I mean, it could be.
I
I
think
don't know.
because it was such a popular story, I stayed away from it. It didn't interest me. Like with George Floyd, I mean, I was just really interested myself. It seems naive now as to why are they lying and why are like George Floyd taught me a lot, but and I spent considerable time. And it's like with Charles Lieber, no one was paying attention to him, and he's so integral, and he's back at it. He's back working with his Chinese associates, working on brain implants with no problems, and they made sure they didn't throw him under the bus. It's like people ask me like, no, George Floyd's not alive. I'm like, I bought his autopsy pictures, and he looks pretty. There's someone who seems pretty dead. Why would they don't care about a low level informant. That's the thing, is that I think he wasn't going to die, or that some of the people in this operation didn't think he was going to die, but then it went wrong or it went right. And that's why, let's say, the officers, including Derek, showed up at the hospital like, oh shit, like, because maybe the idea was you take this thing, you're going to go like Sleeping Beauty, you're going to be out. And that's why he said, I'm scared as fuck when it goes off on me, man. When it goes off on me, man. And it's like the fall of Minneapolis used that. These people didn't look at any of this footage until my movie came out.
No.
And then they decided we wanted to put it all out there in chronological order. She like basically even took my lines out of my mouth and said the same thing. And I know that people are not. I reached out to Liz Collin when her book came out, because my approach to do research is inhale all the metadata and see everything, so I can look at patterns and I can look at details that people. So the fact that they didn't pay any attention, or this is a lieutenant, she's married to the lieutenant that was a Trump supporter, and any case, so just kind of rambled on over there. But yeah, I think that George Floyd is dead. Whether Epstein is dead, that's a good argument that would presented. He fucked up. That's it for you.
There's an unusual component to Epstein's existence that that nobody talks about except me, my crazy ass. I think I've talked to some people about it, and they don't know what I'm talking about. But the fact that Jeffrey Epstein, Peter Nygaard, and Donald Trump all own the same type of airplane, a 727, that is a really unremarkable plane in the sense that it's 50 years old. It was the old TWA planes. It's a flying bus. It's a flying Honda Accord, really, is what it is, because all the parts for it are sort of like generic parts you can get anywhere. So apparently, even though it is a large airplane, it's incredibly cheap to maintain. Epstein had a G4 and a G3 that he could fly around. He could go to wherever with those planes. Those are smaller. Those are faster. They're cooler looking. They're more upscale. But he had this 50-year-old jalopy plane. Why? Why did he have this? Well, the reason why he had it is that the 727 has a very unique feature that no other plane has, and that is a rear deploying stairwell you can put down while you're flying. Remember D.B. Cooper, who hijacked the plane and then put a parachute on and jumped out? He jumped out of a 727 because it has that feature. So my question to the world is, why do the sex traffickers have this plane? Why does Peter Nygaard have this plane? Why does Jeffrey Epstein have this plane? Why did Donald Trump have one of these planes? They could have all the planes in the world. They have these old, obscure planes with this very unusual feature that allows you to throw things out of it in the air. Weapons, cocaine,
whatever,
kids, whatever, right? In Southern Air Transport, the company that Les Wexner bought that used to be Air America, used to be the CIA's private airline, they're 727s. That's what they flew, because the CIA used to like to hotwire them. They could go steal them. We could go to Africa and find some plane sitting on a runway and break into it, hotwire it, and
How
steal it.
about the
They do the whole thing and
the
use it for
planes
operations.
to throw drugs out? What was that movie I saw?
Well, they were using them for Iran Contra when they were flying
Yeah,
shit into
that's what I
mean
was gonna say.
Arkansas.
Are those the planes for the Ira Contra?
Yeah,
It was because I
yeah.
see a shot in where they're throwing the drugs out while in midair. Okay.
That's those planes. That's an unusual plane to have unless you need it for something like that. So again, like there's the mainstream Epstein, and I'm glad people are talking about it. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to be like, oh, don't talk
Sure.
about the child trafficking stuff. It's so yesterday. No, I want everybody to understand that there's a world out there in which this stuff is happening. But I just feel like with Epstein, it's such an onion. You know, you start peeling it apart and you're like, he was involved in Iran Contra, and they're like, like he was running guns. Like, yeah.
I didn't know
He was
that.
doing
I didn't know.
Ponzi schemes for the CIA, for the enterprise, and he was using that money to yeah. I mean, he was involved in all kinds of crazy
It's
shit.
interesting
And
that you.
that
It's
puts him
just
in the Bush Clinton circle,
realm.
that enterprise group that's running things in the 80s out of the Republican Party. And this idea that like Epstein's a Democrat or whatever. Stop.
Do you think
You
it's
know what I mean?
a coincidence that he's 66? That he was 66?
I don't know.
I say that also because, like, in my book in George Floyd, like, I bolded all the references of 66 and 33, and it's, because initially, like, oh, yeah, okay, whatever. It's not, I'm skeptical, but there it's all over the George Floyd, and I just see it like as a signature, like, we were here. The
Yeah,
normies
exactly.
don't know, but we were
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, when you do that, when you go back and look through all of the headlines for COVID, it's like 33 people died at this place, 33,000 cases reported, 3,300 flights were delayed, and you just go, am I
Is
supposed
it
to not
like a
that like?
sim? Like, I've thought that, like, is it like a
In
sim?
some cases, I think it is, because when you type in, there was a way to like type things into a browser. You would say like you could type in almost any number, and you'd say like 54 cases or something, and then you would look, and you would find all these
Yeah.
headlines that were all the same thing. Like 54 cases of COVID reported, and you just look at it and you go, is this dead internet theory? Like, is this is this bots that are generating this fake news? Like, it feels all very simulation-ish.
Yeah,
Are
it
we in the
does.
simulation, Maryam? Jesus.
Well, I wonder. I I don't know if I've shared this analogy, but when Palestine, when the train derailed, and my roommates, I was still in St. Augustine, and they were watching. Zach was watching it too. East Palestine movie, is it called East Palestine? And I walked away. I'm like, this is shit movie. This is like all over the place. And then it happens. The train derails, and I'm like, it's more probable for me that it's a simulation than at this point. Then it's like people writing a script and then purposely derailing a train as the movie goes viral. Like, it's more plausible to me that it is a sim because it doesn't. It's crazy.
Yeah, I had this Anarchapulco experience last year where I smoked DMT on the beach on the Friday night at the very, very end.
Yeah.
And on the final one, the guy I was with was like, make sure you keep your eyes open on this one. And when I did that, and he was like, I want you to hit this thing as hard as you can, as much as you can, like really, really go till you cannot even function. I want you to hit this pipe, right? And when I did that, I could see like a faint grid throughout
Wow.
everywhere. And
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, it felt like a CAD animation graphic design program where you see like the grid part before you add extra layers to it. But if someone was like making a movie or whatever, they would need to put the framework of it, and it felt like I was seeing a simulation, like the framework of the universe. Of course,
And maybe you were.
it's DMT, so maybe maybe you are, maybe you're seeing, maybe my little brain isn't able to process exactly what I'm seeing. Maybe there's more to it. It's an interesting mystery, but I used to be dismissive of like, oh, like simulation. And then it's like, well, like, how would we, if you were doing it right, how would we ever know? Right. It feels very Truman Show sometimes, where he's like, this guy's going to ride by on a bicycle and then this person's going to say good morning. And then, and like, or Groundhog Day. It's like, Ned Ryerson, like over and over again. And I'm just like, some days I feel like maybe there is a little bit more to this.
I do too. I was actually looking for I was like, watch the Truman Show again. Like, how do I find the outer edges? How do I leave? And it's interesting, when I went to Costa Rica this last time, and I really felt like, oh, well, the Matrix is here too. And these hippies are like capitalist hippies, like charging up the wazoo, and the 5G poles are here. And yeah, I felt, yeah, like Westworld, just a different scenario, but you can't escape the Matrix.
No. So, and I wouldn't know
where to go to escape.
I wouldn't know where to go if I did, but I'm open to figuring it out. I don't want to I think that there's a common denominator that I've found, that a lot of people that are either in this community of the alternative media, working to write books or do podcasts, or however they choose to do that, or if you're also just somebody that's really interested in this stuff, one of the common denominators I've found is psychedelics. Most people have done them. McKenna says it opens you up to the possibility that everything that you know is wrong, and so I kind of like that idea. I kind of like not knowing. I think it makes it fun to sort of have this big mystery of how it would be more fun if they weren't also trying to kill us the whole time we were in this simulation too, which I don't appreciate, and the lies and everything. But if it was just, let's put them in this terrarium and see if somebody can find the hidden door like Truman does.
Right.
That I think is a fascinating experiment. I could do without all of the pain and suffering in some components of the world, and I could do without the lunatics in Washington, D.C. trying to annihilate everybody with, wars and 5G and poisonous food and all that. But just the idea, the idea of like religion is now imposed on top of this to give you an explanation for how this all works. And you're like, okay, well, there's some holes in the religion argument as well. So I'm not totally on board with that. Like, oh, who created the soul? Well, God created it. Well, that's very convenient. Who's God? Is it imaginary man in the sky with a beard that sits in clouds and judges you on your life? I don't think that's happening. Who cares?
No.
Who cares what I do? Why would anybody care? Who is the creator? The person that created the simulation? Is that God? I mean, if we're in a simulation, then
yeah, it's Anthony Hopkins. I'm joking. In Westworld, right? Isn't it Anthony Hopkins?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's a fascinating mystery.
If there wasn't so much assault on our health, I really, I don't know if I've told you this, that I wouldn't have thought that I'd miss the 90s. And I do miss the 90s. I miss having a day without the Rona and this new world order. And not to be like dark or somber, but my mom is vaccine injured, and more so her husband, my stepdad, is dying, and he's not going to live much longer because his son was a doctor. So while my mom, despite my warnings, stopped at a booster, two shots, no boosters. My stepdad has gotten everything because he's listened to his son and has had brain surgery to relieve the pressure in his brain and is falling, which is dysautonomia. So he's pretty much useless. And I really feel bad for my mom who is having to deal with that. And yeah, so I was talking to her yesterday for my birthday, and it's like, I don't know what to do to make that better to help her.
What can you do? You cannot get in a time machine and go back and fix this. I think that everybody that was involved in this COVID operation should be put up against the wall and shot. I don't think I don't think there is a time for negotiations or empathy or any of that stuff. If you were involved in pushing this, you got to go. You can't be left here to do it again to us. This is, and I try to be compassionate and I try to do all that, but like, if you knew that this was going to do what it did to humanity and you were involved in it, and I'm not talking about the people that didn't know what they didn't know and were just saying, believing that they were doing the right thing. And there's a certain component of people that I'm not going to give them a pass, but like, they just didn't know what they didn't know. And I get that, but I'm talking about the people that plan. I'm talking about if you were sitting at event 201, if you were involved in that in any way, shape, or form, you're a co-conspirator to genocide and should be treated as such. You should be tried. I don't know what sort of actual court justice you would get. And when found guilty, you should be taken out back and shot.
Yeah, I'm not going to dispute that. I was listening. I go listen to lots of spaces. I find them fascinating, like the knowledge the you can share and be free, whether they're taking our voice recognition data or I don't know what the real intent is. So there was a space that I was listening to with Viva Fry, and Viva was like engaging with all these pro-vaxxers and trying to have a conversation with them, which is like,
I
dude,
heard about that.
you're
Ian
like, dude,
Copeland
don't
and
you?
those guys, they're so the PhD Ian Copeland. I'm so
Yes,
smart. You guys are all so fucking dumb. That guy is the biggest dummy on Twitter,
such
but he
dummies.
thinks he's the smartest guy in the room.
Well,
it's just
in engaging critical thinkers that want to actually learn, and that's like, I just want to learn. And if I'm wrong, I'll say I'm wrong. But the way in which, like, they were engaging with him, they would interrupt, poke at him, ad hominem attacks. And it's like, dude, why are you engaging with this? These are fucking trolls. And, but my point in bringing them up is in their reality, it's safe and effective. Like whether, first of all, why would you be working so hard to defend big pharma? So I don't know where their allegiance is or if they're paid to be these trolls. But the fact that if I believe them or if they are being honest and it's not a ruse, that they really actually think this is safe and effective. It's like, wow, we're living on entirely different planets. Like, how do you still think this is safe and effective?
Feel like they're working off of different source material than we are. They believe their default stance is that the pharmaceutical industry is here to help them. My default stance is that the pharmaceutical industry is here to make you sick, if not kill you. They've shown no interest in trying to make you feel better. If they made you feel better, America would look better. It would be a healthier place. It's not. And of course, you just need to read the Flexner report from like 100 years ago to understand that the Rockefellers controlled this whole thing. And if you know who they are, then you know Big Pharma was built on a foundation of quicksand. It was designed to keep everybody sick and make them a lot of money. So I don't know that any of those people that are involved in those Twitter spaces, that are pro-vaccine, I don't know if they know any of this stuff. My guess is that they don't know it, and if you were to show it to them, they wouldn't want to know it because to know it would be.
They sound like rabid dogs. Like they're rabid. They're not civil humans, and they're mean and yeah. I would have thought that Lee Viva could see through that shit.
No, he walked into that. He should have known better. I mean, I have a lot of sympathy for people that didn't know any better. you mentioned like your situation with your mom and stepdad. Like, I'm sure that they thought they were doing the right thing. They were doing the correct thing. They were going to take advantage of these amazing discoveries and technology that we have in medicine. And, they were probably thinking, I'm so glad I live now where we can be protected against all this bad stuff because we now have the technology to fight these wars that we couldn't. I'm going to take the shot. It takes nothing from me. It doesn't hurt. It costs nothing. And I'm going to be protected. And I'm so thankful that I'm living during this era where I'm protected. But when in actuality, none of that is true. You've just poisoned yourself. You've taken an experimental shot because you don't understand the game. And I feel really bad for those people because I know a lot of those people. I have a ton of friends and family members that are in that camp. I mean, I told all of my friends about this in the summer of 2020. I said, there is going to be a rush to market vaccine, an experimental one. There's going to be a huge campaign to push you into doing it, a guilt trip like you've never experienced before. They're going to tell you everything that you need to hear in order to get you to take it. Don't take it. It will poison you. Every single one of my friends took them. None of them listened to me. So like, I can't.
And if they're okay, then they think you're wrong rather than it's a saline or they're lucky or the prion disease hasn't, come to surface because it's going to take we said that it was going to take about 4 years for the prion disease. And now it's starting to emerge. These misfolded proteins. Hello, Alzheimer's.
Yeah. SPARS pandemic document of 2017 that simulated the 2025 to 2028 timeframe is right on schedule, including the part where they throw the CDC and the Fauci character under the bus. I mean, all of that stuff. But unfortunately, the end of that SPARS pandemic document is that the reason why the Fauci character and the CDC directors are thrown out is because the deaths become undeniable. That everybody sees.
Are we there yet? Don't you think we're there yet? That it's
We're there yet for us, for you and me, and the audience that listens to this. But to a certain segment of the population,
no,
they don't see that. They don't know. They don't understand the newscasters falling down. They don't understand the soccer players dropping on the pitch. They don't understand any of this stuff. They don't understand the vacccidents. They don't understand the car. I can't find my car keys. I can't find my car keys. I can't find. I remember Cliff High talking about this in 2020. He's like, you watch when these vaccines come out, it's going to be all these like little teeny tiny issues that you don't notice at first. Like he's like, you're going to see a lot of rear-ending car accidents where just the person behind just forgot to stop, or the person that's in the middle of making you a sandwich at Subway is like, I'm sorry, what did you want again? And you're like,
right. And I vacillate between compassion and like I've said on customer service, you're vaccinated, right? Is that why your brain's not working? Like, and I'm being a total bitch. But it's like, hello, anybody home? And you see, they're just, people are not embodied. They're not present. And you have to deal with this brain loss. So I vacillate between, deep compassion and being like really bitchy.
Me too. I don't want it. Look, I wish none of this was happening. I have empathy for the people that are genuinely surprised and caught off guard by it and didn't know the game and they walked into a trap. Those people, and if they're like, I'm scared and I need to know what's happened to me, I'll talk. I'll tell them whatever I know. But the people that are like, you're stupid, you're anti-science, you don't know anything, you don't know what you're talking about, all this. Enjoy an early death, dummy. Go have fun. Go enjoy your vaccine. For those people, I catch myself going, like for them, like there's part of me, a real small and real shitty part of me that's like, go have a stroke then, dumbass. Or the people that are on Twitter that are like the guy that posts like, I've taken all my shots. We're going to run an experiment. If I die, then you were right. But if I live, then I want apologies from all these people. And then it's like the next picture is like the guy's obituary. It's like, for that guy, it's like, go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
But for the rest of the people, for the people that didn't know any better, I wish we could put them in a DeLorean and go back in time and unject them from this stuff and explain the whole scam. But you know what, Maryam? I think that if I had that conversation with people in 2019, it'd be as unbelievable as when I had that conversation in the summer of 2020. When nobody listened to me then, nobody would listen to me in 2019. I think a lot of people need to experience this for themselves and need to, in order for it to be real. And I don't wish it. I'm not wishing this. I don't want this to be a global genocide, but it's like it's out of our hands now. Like what we want,
It
I'm
is a
just I'm
global
praying for
genocide.
saline. Just praying for saline for as many people that I know as possible. It's the only savior.
Yeah, even that, telling people like, oh, well, some people got saline. They're like, that's BS too. Yeah, I was seeing if my father was gonna call me today, my Christian father, but he's not. So I was thinking to myself, because forgiveness, I was like, would I, even if he did call me, would I ever be able to get over this, or would I have to really practice, deep forgiveness? Because I think he probably knows I have a big mouth, and as a public figure, I've shamed my dad, or pointed out to his hypocrisy. So he probably wouldn't reach out and do the Christian thing, Like I'm even at the point where I think the religions were created just to sow division. Those three major religions, just to ping pong and cause divide. It's like that's part of the reason why I haven't touched this Palestine Israel thing, because it's like a trap to me. It's like I'm against death and I'm against bullying, and
it feels very much like a trap. Death and destruction everywhere. I just want the state out of the way. I want militaries out of the way. We don't have to live like this. We're being told that this is the only way to live, and it's just not true. I just feel like it's not true. But I'll tell you what. Well, yeah, just that we're living in a world where it's like, well, we have to get them before they get us, and it's like, what? Whoa, who says that they're coming to get us? It all feels very manufactured and fake. But what I am looking forward to is an Acapulco. I'll see you there soon.
Yeah, so did you buy your plane ticket?
What's that?
Did you get your plane ticket?
I did. It's
a long plane.
I'm gonna have to overnight in Mexico City on my way there, but that's okay. I'm going to test out these things that they have at the airport that are these little like sleeping pods that look like a place that they would put you right before they murdered you.
Really?
But I'm going to try them. I'm going to try the murder pods at the Mexico City airport and spend the night in them. I'll report back to it feels like a euthanasia chamber. It's like, okay,
how did you find out?
Like when they close the door behind you and then that's the end of you.
Really? Are they really like a pod?
Uh-huh. Yeah, it's kind of interesting looking. It looks like, frankly, it looks like something you would find in Tokyo, but it's like this little area, and you rent them for the night. It's like $50 for the night, and it's in the Mexico City airport. I'm going to find out about it, and I'm going to stay there for a night, because it's like one of those things where it's like you've got 12 hours in the Mexico City airport. It's like, I mean, 4 hours and I'll be blackout drunk. There's no point. Then what? What do I do? Go to sleep and get mugged? I don't know. I'm gonna maybe find myself one of these little pods. So
I've never been to Mexico City Airport. So my plane, it's like a 10-hour flight, because I get into Mexico from Miami, and then I'm basically spending the day in the airport. Or you get to leave, or what? Can you leave the airport and come back?
If you leave, you gotta go through, and you gotta get through security and everything again. I'm not interested in that. I don't know. We'll see. But let's do this for your birthday. Where's the best place for people to support your work and send you free money for your birthday?
That's nice. Maybe I should tell them first that why am I asking them? Banned on Venmo, Vimeo, PayPal, GoFundMe, Instacart, Amazon, debanked by Chase, persecuted by the government, and smeared on NBC. Is that a good reason? Can't accept a lot of money other than Cash App and Zelle. So, but I would love for my birthday for you to sign up to my Substack, because then you can get some information and direct contact from me. So it's maryamhenein.substack.com. So I'm investing a lot of my love and time and having fun with the Substack. So yeah, that would be a beautiful birthday present, like $5 to sign up to the Substack. What else can I say? I would say definitely buzz on over to honeycolony.com. I don't know if you have a coupon code, Charlie, but they can use
I thought I
B-Lady.
thought I had one that was macro. Try macro, people.
Macro. Yeah. So you can get some silver, some lubricant, some methylene blue. Very few people are selling methylene blue. And I have a lot of other goodies. And then you support
some
a company
lubricant at Honey Colony before the government fucks you. That's Maryam. That's your sales pitch on it.
For Valentine's
Use
Day.
the promo code macro. That's Maryam Henein. Everybody, she's the B lady. Go over and support her work, and she's doing outstanding journalism. I mean, in a world where nobody is, she is. So, Maryam, you're the best. I'll see you in a couple weeks at an Acapulco.
Hug in person.
Exactly. And for those of you, if you like this episode, you can take the additional step right now of sharing it with your friends and family. You can follow me on Twitter at macroaggressions, the new website, macroaggressions.io. Thanks, everybody. We'll talk to you again soon.